I absolutely love the Champions Cup. This is my take on the first 4 of the 8 round of 16 games that we've got this weekend. There was the Harlequins v Glasgow game last night. There was Bulls v Lyon earlier, and I've just literally finished watching. Well, I had 2 screens, so I could watch Stormers v La Rochelle and Bath v Exeter. I thought I'd just do a little half-time hot take on the games so far, and then I'll do the same following the other games. But oh my goodness me, I'm so glad I'm a neutral when it comes to this competition, because I'm not sure I can take the tension. How there's no nails left on most of the teams involved. It's only the Bulls v Lyon match where it wasn't an absolute nail biter right down to the death. So lots to talk about. Obviously there's going to be spoiler alerts here, so don't continue watching if there's games you don't want to know the result for. But here we go. I'm going to start with the Stormers in Cape Town, the game I've just finished watching. Absolutely brutal 80 minutes. Proper high quality individuals on show, and heartbreaking if you're a Stormers fan to have narrowly lost 21-22. It does show the resolve of La Rochelle, the 2-time winners of this tournament, going for 3 in a row. And they haven't been at their best this season, but they managed to do just enough. I felt sorry for Marnie Lebok. The fact the wind was blowing as strongly as it was definitely affected his chances of nailing that final conversion and repeating what he managed to do in the pool stage game, where it was his conversion that won the game by a point. What was it, 21-20? This time, 22-21. So nothing to choose between these teams over 160 minutes of rugby. And it was a strange game because it was all Stormers, then it was all La Rochelle, and then the Stormers found a way at the end to come back. And I mean, one of the most influential elements for this game, and tell me if you're a Stormers fan, not only are you licking the wounds about the defeat, and we can get on to the substance of the game in a second, but bigger than that, it's at what cost is this game going to have on the rest of the season, because the resources that the Stormers have now got in their back row, the back 5 of the scrum is really stretched with the injuries, Dion Faree, Hakchiva Deamani, I mean, and others. It's just a big cost to them. And that definitely was the turning point in the game, those key men in key positions going off. And that was where the momentum of the game swung. Like I say, Stormers were cruising, deservedly 13-0 up at half-time. Really good try for Yanchis after some fantastic play by Gallant, Libok and Willemse. And also, I've got to just mention the work rate of some of those Stormers forwards. Van Heerden, Morat, they've got that perfect balance between power and just wheels on the outside. And I thought, well, looks like Stormers are going to do it. And then Libok followed it up with a penalty just into the second half. Then the injuries started mounting up. La Rochelle woke up, and it went from 16-0 to the Stormers to 17-16 to La Rochelle. You've got to say, in credit to La Rochelle, Lavani Bottia is an absolute machine. What a weapon. And I was watching Evan Roos very closely in this game, and I think my takeaway is you saw a world-class number 8 on the field today, and that was Gregory Aldrit. And you saw a guy that's got so much potential, but is not at that level yet in Evan Roos. So still a project, still got a long way to go. Got a huge potential, but Gregory Aldrit was very good. I also want to mention Brock Harris for a second, and just actually Stormers scrummaging just generally, because Brock Harris had 300 kilograms up against him in Owini Atonio and Will Skelton, and he got the better of the scrummaging. In fact, I have to say, I think Stormers probably will feel a bit hard done by some of the decisions by the referee, Matthew Carley, particularly at scrum time. There was a couple of times when Owini Atonio got the penalty. It looked to me like he just had his legs too far back, went flat, and was the guy that took it to ground. But, I mean, it's like shaking a magic 8 ball sometimes with the scrum, isn't it? And Matthew Carley, I watch him all the time in the Premiership, obviously, and he's very much like a school teacher of a referee. Seems quite pedantic, and you sort of need to get on his side. But hey, repeated penalties meant that it was Sclavi scored the Argentinian prop, scored the try that put La Rochelle ahead. And I thought, with the injuries in Stormers, with La Rochelle coming back, I thought that might be it. And fair play to Stormers, they showed a huge load of resolve to come back and give themselves the chance at a win. But they will be gutted. Tell me what you're thinking now in the comments down below. And one thing actually, just in general, and this is a question, if you're a Stormers fan, a Bulls fan, or South African, or has the history and tradition and importance of this competition translated its way to South Africa yet. I was looking at the crowd, and obviously it was amazing seeing that URC match between the Bulls and the Stormers a few weeks back. 55,000 sellout. That was amazing. Wasn't quite the same crowd. Obviously a big stadium, so it's hard to see how many people were there. Is it translating? Because for me, I've got 25 years of growing up watching this competition, and it is the absolute pinnacle of club rugby as far as I'm concerned. The best teams, the best club teams, the best quality and standard of rugby across the board. Certainly when you get to this stage, and I'm just interested to see if it's sort of capturing the imagination in South Africa. But I'll tell you what, in England, absolutely, this was 2 teams going toe to toe, a West Country derby in the round of 16, Exeter against Bath. I had this match on a second screen and was keeping an eye on this, and again, proper nail biter, went right down to the wire, and Exeter Chiefs, fair play, 21-15. And this wind, I talked about the wind affecting Marnie Libok, the wind affecting this game was huge. I looked at it with the way the wind was blowing and it was affecting the kicks. In the first half, I thought, well, this is a 20-point wind. And Exeter Chiefs went in at half-time 12 points to 7 down. I thought, well, that's it, game over. Bath have got this. They've got that get-out-of-jail-free card. They can just wallop the ball down the other end. The bravery, the composure of Exeter to play the second half they did, to keep Bath to just 3 points, a long-range penalty, and to score 2 really good tries was outstanding. The context here is Finn Russell injured, big blow to Bath, significant. I mean, if he's on the field, he's worth, especially with that wind and the tactical nous that he's got, he's worth more than 6 points. So I think Bath probably would have won with Finn Russell on the park. And they'll lament that one, but Exeter Chiefs, fair play. And especially as Exeter, they had all the possession first half, all the territory, did not convert. White line fever. They could have walked it in. They had overlaps and they kept trying to go for about the 100th phase, pick and go, and it just didn't work for them. And the way the first half ended like that, you thought, well, that's a hammer blow to Exeter. They had all the possession again in the second half, despite being against the wind. This time they were brave, went coast to coast, mixed it up with that power game, and that really worked for them. And this is a young team, a completely reinvented Exeter team, full of young lads. They are going places. The fortitude that they showed in this game was huge. Ethan Roots was massive. Just his engine is incredible. Emmanuel Faye-Waboso must rub goose fat on himself. He's so hard to tackle. And I mean, there was loads of good young English players on show in this match. I thought Ted Hill looked awesome, and he actually gassed Emmanuel Faye-Waboso in this game, running into the wind. I mean, that guy's got wheels for a flanker. I've been talking him up lately on the channel. Thomas DeToy was ace, Sam Underhill, and it looked like Bath were bossing the breakdown, but it was just... Exeter were just a Rob Baxter team, and Rob Baxter is a special head coach, and what he's doing with this young group of Exeter players is remarkable, frankly. That was a famous win, and they're into another Champions Cup quarter-final. Former winners, of course, in 2020. This was... it's a bit of a shame, this one. I mean, fantastic for the Bulls to get a win in Pretoria, 59-19 against Lyon, but a shame that it was so one-sided. You should not have games with that scoreline at this stage of the competition, and a big part of that is the fact that Lyon left a load of their big players back in France, and the guys that did make the journey to Pretoria seemed like they were mentally still in France. In the top 14 in France, they're not far off the relegation spot, so they've got a battle on their hands. They've obviously prioritised that, which is a massive shame for the competition, because the fans that did make the effort to go to that game deserved something more competitive. Lyon were, that's just not on. It's just, I'd say it's unacceptable for Lyon to turn up with those players and play like that. That said, the Bulls absolutely rolled them over and played some awesome rugby. And to be fair, the game did only bust open properly in the last half hour of the match. I think it was, I made a note of it, what was it, 28-14 it was, when Lyon got a penalty try and Kanan Moody got a yellow card. So I suppose it only bust open after that point. But just on this game, I reckon there's 2 man of the matches for me. First one is that guy, Kurtley Arendse. Oh my goodness me, how good is he? Is Kurtley Arendse, here's a question if you're a Bull fan, or South African fan, or just rugby fan in general and you watch this game, is Kurtley Arendse better now than Cheslin Colby? It's close, isn't it? I mean, he is unreal. He'd be Bulldog World Champion. And if you're not from the UK and don't understand what I mean, Bulldog, surely that's a playground game that everyone plays in the world, isn't it? Everyone starts at one end, someone's trying to touch you, and you have to just make your way to the other end without getting touched. This guy, Bulldog World Champion, unreal talent, absolutely awesome. And the other man of the match for me was the DJ in Pretoria as well. I'm going to Pretoria for the Ireland, South Africa v Ireland match. And, I'm looking forward to seeing the best in the Northern Hemisphere against the best in the world and the Southern Hemisphere. I'm also looking forward to sampling that Pretoria DJ's vibes because I'm all over it. Although I will say Sweet Caroline, I think that song's had its day now. Can we park that one? I like a bit of Zombie. Sweet Caroline, not so much. But tunes. And it seemed like the DJ actually woke the Bulls up. He started pumping some tunes and the team started playing really well. Villy LaRue, that guy does things effortlessly. That pass for the first try for de Klerk was just awesome. Arendse, honestly, Lewis Rees-Sammet's just gone to the NFL. Kurtley Arendse could be a running back in the NFL. He is so good. And that him and Papier, absolute wheels. Brilliant try. And Papier got a nice swipe of a try. He's playing really well. Every time I see him play, I think he looks like a potential Springbok. Yanchis, to be fair, played well for the Stormers, but I don't know. Papier, if I was Papier, I think I'd feel a bit hard done by that I'm not involved in the national setup currently. 59-19, total one-way traffic. Like I say, a shame that Lyon didn't really turn up. But another absolute belter of a game. Kicked things off last night. Quins against Glasgow, 28-24. And Quins, well, it was one of those where I went, neither team really deserved to lose that game. And also neither team totally deserved to win because, I mean, Quins don't know how to just win a game in a normal fashion, do they? They never just like, do you know what, we're just going to do a workman-like performance and just win this match. They either play really badly and come from behind and just play some unbelievable rugby to score a famous comeback victory, or they play really well and then let their foot off the gas and the opposition nearly beat them, which is what happened last night. They were 21-7 up. Actually, Glasgow went ahead, to be fair, and then it was a Marcus Smith-inspired Harlequins that went 21-7 up, and then they just kind of imploded a little bit. Glasgow, yes, turned things on, but just suddenly Quins went to sleep. When they put it all together for 80 minutes, they can beat anyone. But and oddly, actually, I'll say the same thing about Glasgow. Franco Smith is building something there at Glasgow, but mentally, it felt very Scotland, that performance, didn't it? Like we saw Scotland during the Six Nations. When it clicks, they are absolutely devastating, but they have mental lapses. And Glasgow went ahead, Cummings with the try, mental lapse, boom, 21-7 down, and then decided, you know what, we'll start playing. And yeah, and then that decision at the end to do a crossfield kick. I mean, when that comes off, you're a hero, and it wasn't far off, but wrong idea, wrong time, probably. Quins' line out was absolutely, as they'd say in Scotland, pish, and Glasgow's Glasgow's penalty count was pish. It was absolutely unacceptable, that. If I had £1 for every time they mentioned it was Quins' first knockout win, I'd have, I could buy Marcus Smith out of his contract. And he really was the difference between the two teams, let's be honest. If you put Marcus Smith in Glasgow colours, Glasgow probably win that one comfortably. Glasgow need a fit and available, high quality fly half. They don't have one. Harlequins did. And that was probably the difference between the two. And now Quins will wait to see who the winner is between Bordeaux and Saracens. Bordeaux v Quins could be absolutely dynamite, that game. That could be insane. Equally, if Saracens manage to win, then Quins v Saracens, bit of a derby match, that could be very, very spicy indeed. Glasgow, they'll be gutted. They'll be hurting over that one. A good fly half and they win that match. Quins, if they put it all together for 80, like I say, there'll be a match for absolutely anybody. So far, Champions Cup, round of 16, is living up to the hype I gave it. This is one of my favourite weekends in the whole year. And this is what I love. So you get the Super Saturday in the Six Nations, 3 games back to back, and now you get these 8 games across 2.5, 3 days, and it's just dynamite rugby. I absolutely love it. So far, so good. Stay tuned to the channel for more. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. Give the video a thumbs up. Leave your comments. I will see you on the next one because I've got another game to go and watch.